Alright, so I've done a lot to the car since I bought it. I put that brake booster on. I had to take the master cylinder off. I had to bleed all the brakes. I ended up replacing the back left caliper. Yeah, so that's finished, and that fixed the problem with the hissing in the soft brake pedal. So that was the brake booster. I got the safety inspection done. It's now roadworthy. It costs around $1,200, so I had to put a muffler on, a cat on. It needed the radiator replaced, and it was so much money because they had to pretty much take the whole front end off, because that's how you have to replace the radiators on these things. So thanks, Volkswagen. I replaced the coolant reservoir. When I took it in for the inspection, I had a lot of oil leaking down the pipes of my intercooler. So he said that I most likely have a seal gone in the turbo. So I pulled off the intake because that had to be pulled off to get the turbo off. And I pulled off the turbo. Even if he said that I didn't have a bad oil seal, I would have pulled off the turbo anyways, because that's just something that I wanted to do. I wanted to clean it, and I wanted to check if it had any play. So I pulled that off. I took it to a Volkswagen specialist here in my town. I asked him to check the play on it because I thought there was some play on it, but he checked it. He said, "Oh, like that's nothing for like the mileage and that type of thing for the vehicle." He said that's nothing. And I told him that the shop that I took it to for the safety inspection, they said that I probably have a bad oil seal in it. But he ended up testing my actuator, and it's not holding any pressure. So he said that's most likely why I'm leaking oil, is the bad actuator. But yeah, it's in very bad shape, and I don't think it's supposed to sound like a maraca. So I have a new one of these coming. I took a wire wheel to a lot of the cast on the hot side. I also got a new oil return line. Apparently you're supposed to replace the lines and the feed whenever you pull off the turbo. So I ended up cleaning it. It looks pretty good. I put oven cleaner inside of it to clean out the veins. So now the actuator actually works properly and open and close the veins, because it was kind of stiff. When I took this out, I ended up having to cut it from the downpipe because those studs seized. I ended up welding nuts onto the studs, and I was only able to get one off. So then I tried drilling it out. I wasn't able to get it, so then I had to take it to a shop. I was there for a few days. He cleaned out the threads in them, and I think he had to re-tap this one. It's a little bit off center, but I don't think it's going to be an issue. And then he put in the new studs for me that I ordered, and I brought them in. I ended up picking up copper nuts for the turbo and for the exhaust manifold. I put new studs for the exhaust manifold, because a couple of the nuts were seized to the stud. So I figured, I might as well replace them. I think they were like $2 a piece. Just kind of peace of mind to have new ones there. And I put some copper anti-seize just so Hopefully they won't seize into the block, even though it's aluminum. And yeah, I got copper nuts for the exhaust manifold studs. New gaskets, new oil return. New exhaust manifold gasket, new intake manifold gasket. When I ended up taking the exhaust manifold and the intake manifold off, it was missing an intake bolt and it was missing a exhaust manifold stud. So I was probably losing a little bit of pressure there, but yeah, I painted this, poured diesel in it. There was a tiny bit of carbon, but because the vehicle already had EGR delete, it wasn't as bad as like some. So I added a tiny bit of carbon in it, but I ended up pouring a little bit of diesel in it and then hit it with a torch and then sprayed compressed air in there to start getting it to burn out. And I actually burned out a lot inside of it. So after I did that, I painted it. Looks pretty nice. What else? I ordered coilovers. Yeah, it's coming together pretty good. So when I thought that I wasn't able to get these studs out, I ended up purchasing I got a used VNT 15 on Facebook for $100. Drove about an hour away, but it's pretty worth it. I think the one that I bought has a little bit more shaft play than this one. It's not bad, but there needs to be a little bit of play in order for the oil to go around the bearing. But yeah, I took it to him. He said, "Oh, that's nothing." He said put a new actuator in it and then slap back in the car. But a lot of my troubles were from these studs seizing into it. And I ended up ordering a used intercooler. It's a Vallejo one made in France. It's from eBay. Looks pretty good. The reason why I had to order it is because, like everything on this vehicle, all my problems are happening because of a seized bolt or a screw. So the two screws that hold in the map sensor, they were seized in there. Like one wasn't even there. It was like crumbled away, and the other one that was there, it was just crumbling whenever I tried to take it out. So I tried drilling it out and it didn't work. So I ended up ordering a new one off eBay, and I think the one that I ordered off eBay is a slight upgrade as well. So that I'm gonna compare it to this one because I think it is. And if I were to take the route of these not coming out instead of buying the used VNT 15, because it just came up on Marketplace just then, like when I bought it, so I kind of scooped it up really quick. But I was looking at prices for a VNT 17. It's the same housing, everything's the same, except the compressor wheel is a tiny bit bigger and you make a tiny bit more power. But since this has a stage 1, like I didn't want to keep building up power and then I would have to replace my clutch. So for the slight power increase, I didn't want to replace the clutch. So, and it's good now, like it doesn't slip or anything. Yeah, I like inside the car, I putting in a new radio, but I'm having a lot of issues because it's like a cheap touchscreen one and like a Chinese one, so having a lot of problems with that. Apparently, I'm getting an error on the screen, and I can't exit out. It says like lamp, no control when lamp is on or something like that. And I emailed the company and back and forth with them. They said it's because of there's an unstable power, which is very vague. I tried to do a lot of research. I didn't really know how to go from there, so I'm still in contact with them. I got new tires, like brand new tires, put on to those stock rims. I got a windscreen because this makes a lot, like the roof rack makes a lot of noise when I'm driving, a lot of wind. Plus I like the look of them too, and I'm probably gonna mount my my license plate on there. I gotta take off the fenders because they weren't clear coated. And since I was going in there anyways, I decided to repaint this. I'll put a picture in right now. Of the rust that was on it, and the fender support bracket was pretty rotted out. I ended up throwing it away, but I bought new ones for each side. I'm assuming the left side is gonna be bad too. But it goes in like that. And yeah, I put bed liner on the bottom side, and I clear coated everything. Just because I think it's rotting there, because that holds water. If water gets in there, there's nowhere for it to really go. So I bed lined that, both of them. Yeah, I got coilovers coming. The drop rate's like 1 to 3. Yeah, be nice to replace some of that. Brand new, and I ordered new bearings and I think new top hat. But yeah, mainly the thing that I'm waiting for to get this thing running again is I'm waiting for the actuator and the intercooler. But yeah, hopefully it comes soon. It's supposed to come like beginning of July, but with all this COVID going on, it's hard to say. I have a catch can that I'm trying to fab up a way. I ended up picking up like elbows and other connecting pieces to try and get the catch can kind of set up. I have like a whole bunch of like I can only really find like, I think it's like 1-inch tubing. It's kind of big, but I think it'll work really well. And just because the TDIs, they do leak a little bit of oil through the intercooler, like from the turbo, just like from the factory. So I saw someone on YouTube, they ended up putting a little bleeder valve on the very bottom of the intercooler, and then he fed it up to his catch can. He said he didn't find any, like, it's not going to create a boost like anything. He said the small amount of air escaping isn't not enough to affect the performance, and this way I'm not going to have a whole bunch of oil accumulating inside the intercooler. It just goes right back into the catch can. And he says he's had a lot of luck with that. Yeah, I think that's everything I've done so far. Yeah, since I had to cut off the part of the downpipe, I was thinking about doing a hood stack, because I'm putting in like hood latches. I don't know, I think it looks pretty cool. There was a lot of rock chips on the hood, so I ended up sanding that all down, priming it. And I think what I'm gonna do for the hood is, it's kind of ricer, but I'm gonna sticker bomb the hood, and then I'm gonna clear coat over it. I think I don't know. I like to have unique vehicles, so I think that might look kind of cool. But since the hood is pretty much a write-off anyways, I'm honestly thinking about doing a hood stack. I think that'd be pretty cool. Yeah, everything's coming along. It's kind of slow right now. I'm like waiting on parts and stuff like that. But yeah, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace. To go along with the new oil return line, I also bought a braided oil feed line to replace the fixed one that is stock. But I gotta it only came with one washer for each end. So what I want to do is I want to put another washer where it connects, So there's one washer there, and then on the other side, there's another one washer for the side of the turbo. So I want to put another washer here in between where this screws into the banjo bolt that goes into the engine. It's kind of hard to explain, but it only came with one. So I want to put another one on this side. It's just like same for both ends of it. One for the inside going to the turbo, and then this one coming from the engine. Something else that I forgot to mention that I wanted to do. So since the downpipe has been cut where it is, so the shift knobs on these, they're not threaded, so you can't put an aftermarket knob on it. It's just not threaded, which I don't understand why they did that. And also, I was thinking about putting in a short shifter, but the thing is with these, it's not accessible from the top like other vehicles are. In order to put a short shifter in this, you have to drop the whole shifter housing down from the bottom and all the cables out. So you'd have to move your exhaust, move the heat shields, drop it from the bottom. Yeah, it's like a pain, but I think maybe because that is cut, I might be able to kind of move it back and maybe move it out of the way. I'm not sure. When I got the vehicle inspected, I had to get a muffler and a cap put on it, and then I just took it right off anyways. Right after, I took it to a shop and I had them weld the pipe in where they had clamped the cat that I had bought put on. It was like in the perfect spot. I should have kind of thought of this ahead of time. I would have taken it off, put the short shifter in, and then had the pipe welded on. So I'm really hoping I can move that the exhaust back from where it's cut from the downpipe. I'm hoping I can do that. Yeah, and this charge pipe, I want to pick up a piece of aluminum piping. I think it'd be kind of cool to have bend the aluminum piping in the same shape as the charge pipe. I think that would look kind of cool. But I'm already a lot of money into this, so I'm trying to hold off because I got laid off in like March 24th, something like that. So still buying parts, but I gotta be careful on how I'm spending my money. And before all this, I ended up cleaning the whole engine bay. It's dirty now because I was like cutting and drilling, and I'm gonna strip the bottom, like the underside of the hood, and I'm gonna paint it the reflex silver, like what the car is, the current color of it now. I think that would look cool. Clean up a lot of these rusted bolts, and this is like really turning into like a mini restoration of this thing at this point. But yeah, all right, talk to you later.